Feeding a forage-based diet doesn't have to be difficult, but it can take a little math. We know we start with hay, but where do we go from there? If you're looking for the nitty-gritty of forage-based, this video is for you. First, we start with the hay test, so we know exactly what is in our hay. For knowing what minerals to add to our horse's meals, we will start with the column to the far right, which lets us know how much of each nutrient this hay provides per pound. For now, we are going to focus on the major and minor minerals to know exactly what to supplement. The top portion here shows the major minerals, and the bottom portion shows the minor minerals. When looking at the far right column, we can find out exactly how much of each mineral this hay provides by multiplying the number of grams or milligrams per pound of the hay by the amount of hay fed per day. We are going to use a real-life example at my farm where a warmblood here eats about 25 pounds of hay a day. With this list of what the hay provides, the only minerals that don't meet the National Research Council's daily requirements are copper and zinc, but don't worry, we will make up for that when we supplement based on the ratios needed for absorption. My focus when feeding my horses is hoof health and rehabilitation, so I keep a very tight ratio for the minerals I feed. I want the calcium, phosphorus, magnesium ratio to be about 2 to 1 to 1, meaning the calcium should be about double the amount of phosphorus and magnesium. For minor minerals, I look for iron to be about 4 times the amount of copper, and zinc and manganese to be about 3 times the amount of copper. This may sound confusing, so let's dive in. If we look at the hay test, we see that there is about 3 grams of calcium in each pound of this hay. We can multiply that by the 25 pounds a day that this horse eats to find out how much calcium the warmblood here is getting per day. Now, if we want phosphorus and magnesium to be half the amount of calcium, we simply divide that amount of calcium per day in that 25 pounds of hay by 2. And we find that we want about 38.6 grams of phosphorus and 38.6 grams of magnesium per day to balance the calcium amount. With the hay test, we can calculate how much phosphorus and magnesium this hay provides with feeding that 25 pounds a day as well. All that's left is to subtract how much phosphorus and magnesium is in the hay by how much of each that we need, and we can find out exactly how much we need to then supplement. Next, we can look at the minor minerals. Iron is prevalent in hay and water and can inhibit absorption of copper and zinc, which are both needed for hoof health. We saw earlier that for hoof rehab, we want iron to be no more than 4 times the amount of copper per day, and zinc and manganese to be about 3 times the amount of copper. The easiest way to start is to find how much iron this hay provides per day. With multiplying the milligrams per pound by 25, we can see this hay provides about 950 milligrams of iron, over double the daily requirement. In order to find out how much copper we need to get a 4 to 1 ratio of iron to copper, we have to divide the amount of iron, 950 milligrams, by 4. This shows us that we want about 237 milligrams of copper intake per day. We know we want zinc and manganese intake to be about 3 times the amount of copper per day. To find out how much zinc and manganese we want, we simply multiply the copper amount by 3, which ends up being about 712 milligrams. Now, the hay does provide some zinc and copper and a good amount of manganese, so we can subtract the amount of these that the hay provides per day, and what's left over is what we need to supplement to get our ratios up to speed. And now we can make up a feed bucket. First, all horses need salt. This is always where I start. Next, I add in my mineral mix that has all the necessary minerals to match my hay test. Next, I add a forage-based carrier. These are Timothy balance cubes, which are tested low in sugar and starch. After that, I add stabilized ground flaxseed for omega-3 fatty acids. This horse also gets some herbs and extras to help with his rehab. For him, we add some spirulina for allergies, as well as Jiaogulan for soft tissue support, and AAKG to help increase the effectiveness of Jiaogulan. We finish everything off with some more forage diversity to help with gut health. Now we are ready to soak. I add water and mix to let it break down. Once it's a bit of an oatmeal-like texture, I am able to feed it. We also add liquid vitamin E right before feeding. This guy loves it, and I love knowing he is getting everything he needs each day between what is in his hay and what is in his bucket.